We're always happy to come, and as Liam said at the beginning, it's a privilege to be here, and I think somebody like Jan and all the young people with Down syndrome, while we're looking for something for them here today, we're also very conscious that they have a lot to contribute to our country, to our republic, and it's in the spirit of that we're looking for these resources. I suppose 15 years ago, when Jan went to that first slide there in preschool, there was very little there, but we looked for it, and by continuing to ask, we got some support. This was the time when there were no SNAs in preschools or anything like that, but Jan got support in preschool, which allowed him to go on to primary school. We worked with the teachers in primary school to get an IEP, to get support. That paid off. He went to secondary school. As he told you, he did his junior cert and is now struggling with leaving cert, but a lot of people struggle with leaving cert. So we won't hold that against him. But I suppose from a parent's perspective, the importance of the IEP was central really to good communication between the teachers, because in primary school teachers would get to know a child quite well, and then they move on to a new teacher and all that information is lost. So the IEP can actually, it's very good in transitioning between classes, but also between schools. When he moved on to secondary school, there was a lot of information that came with him through that IEP. And I suppose secondary schools are a bit more complicated because you have different teachers for different subjects, and it's quite challenging for teachers who might have, children with very different learning needs in a classroom. The planning that goes into that, the adapting, the content, the curriculum, the methodology. So we're very conscious of teachers' needs, and we don't want to overburden them because that can backfire. But at the same time, if that change and that adaptation isn't made, sitting in class, whether it be mainstream or special school, is going nowhere. So we're looking at this in, I suppose, the longer term. So what's needed, I suppose, is support, ongoing support for teachers to implement these IEPs, not having them in somebody's desk or on file to tick a box or a legalistic approach. It's the ongoing daily inclusion of children with diverse learning needs. I mean, we're talking here today about children with Down syndrome, but there are lots of other children as well who will benefit once the teacher gets into this method of using individualised planning for their classes. And I know from just a few things we read about in the UK where it's been done, is that actually the schools benefit because the capacity of the school develops. You have to become a better teacher and everybody benefits. So it might be a bit ironic that we do it for the children who need extra support, but all children benefit, and as a society we benefit from that. So I suppose it's the longer term view. I would expect Jan, after whatever he does afterwards, that he contributes back to society, that he gets a job, that he's able to do what he's able to do to the best of his ability, and that's long term economically positive for the country. So we're looking for something now, but with a view to having a big payback in the future. And it's not like some of what we did with our money when we put it into the banks and it disappeared. I believe this will actually pay off to us as a country, as a society, if we invest now in our young people and in the teachers who support them. So, Gorimina Mahakov.